Now, starting off with Tina Turner, I'm pretty sure most of us, and not even only in the black community, we've seen her movie, What's Love Got to Do With It, from 1993, right? In that movie, it shows her rise from a child to the big, famous legend, superstar, icon that she became, and she still is. She was larger than life, but then we know it was that moment in her career, right, where she was with Ike. And Ike and Tina, they were huge too, but she became bigger as a solo artist. But within that relationship and partnership with Ike, there was a lot of physical trauma she went through. And there's many scenes, if you saw the movie, you already know. And y'all know it's that one scene where she has on a white outfit and they have to fight in the limo. Then they go to the hotel and her face is all messed up and everything, and he just goes to take a nap. She's in the mirror looking at her face, and she's like, she finally makes that decision to run and escape him. And it's that whole thing when she's going through the lobby, the man calls her and she runs across the street to the other hotel, and she's basically running for her life. That scene right there is a pivotal scene for the movie. And imagine how vulnerable Tina Turner was to share that for the movie. Imagine how vulnerable she felt watching that. And now, of course, it's a movie, it's Hollywood. They exaggerate some things for the effect of it being a movie, right? Because not to say that happened verbatim, but that's a part of her story. Tina Turner was a part of the movie. She approved it. Everything was what it was. That part was a pivotal part. She was basically, like I said, running for her life. But so many years later, that scene has become a meme. It's become a joke. Believe it or not, that scene alone has become a Halloween costume. Yes, I've seen maybe 2-3 years ago, there was like multiple people that dressed up in a white outfit and they was running all through the bushes and running, and they'll run through a hotel, run through the street. And y'all know that part where she's in the middle of the street and she almost gets hit by a car and everything like that? And like, that's somebody's Halloween outfit. That traumatic experience from the movie about Tina Turner's life and her relationship with Ike, that's become such a joke and a meme. And I'm like, just look at this. Every time I see that, I'm like, of all the iconic moments Tina Turner had, from her stage performances to her music videos, you know, from the hair and the jean jacket and just the iconic moments she's had in her life, to be her for Halloween or to recreate for a social media post, you're going to choose the moment in the movie where she was essentially running for her life.
Saying no nice. Ike, come on.
Come on.
I'm Ike. Turn up, baby. No, I don't play. Now eat the cake.
It's like, wow. And then you notice this is within the black community. It's like a lot of people in the black community have this thing with trauma where it's like, you know, turn your trauma into a joke. Turn your trauma into humor. Finding the humor in trauma. And it goes back to like, this is not for everybody, but you know, in the black community, right, where, you know, some parents beat their kids, right? And it was like and some people, it's like a generational trauma thing where you get older, you have your own kids, people be like, oh, I never lay a finger on my kids because of what I went through, right? Not me, I'm just saying, you hear this all the time. But then some people be like, oh, my parents did this and that, and I turned out fine. But it's like, that doesn't mean it was okay. So it's just like, turning traumatic experiences into jokes or humor, or, you know, reliving or emphasizing a generational trauma onto your own kids because of what you went through. It's just like, oh, you know, that's black people. That's what we go through. It's like, that doesn't mean it's okay. So for people now, all these years later, movie came out basically 30 years ago, all these people finding the humor in it. And it's like, some people will be like, oh, this is not funny. But then these same memes and tweets and jokes of people recreating that will go viral. TikTok, Instagram, you know, you got Shade Room, all these things reposting it, and they gaining a following just from doing skits like that. I'm like, wow, you made a skit out of that when Tina Turner had so many iconic moments. And then people wonder why Tina Turner left for Europe. I think she's in Switzerland now. People wonder why she left, and like, she doesn't really acknowledge the black community, as some people like to say. Same thing happened with like Josephine Baker back in like the 20s or the 30s. She left for Europe, and she was doing her own thing in Europe. And here's the thing. This is obviously, you know, there's racism in Europe, especially against black people, right? Even though there's black people living in Europe, there's racism that black Americans face in Europe too. But as odd as it is, in some ways, they feel more accepted overseas than they are in America. You know what I'm saying? They won't have to face certain traumatic experiences in other countries internationally like they would in America. It's a crazy paradox when you think about it. You know, being an American black artist that rose to fame, right? You would think that your own people would accept you and support you and love you in the best ways possible. But this is not for everybody. But it's just like, they go internationally, they go to different countries, different continents, they won't have to deal with certain traumas that come from their own people. There is the racism and everything, but, you know, Josephine Baker did it back in the day. Tina Turner did it. I think she's still in Switzerland. She only comes to America when she gets an award, she gets an honor. But other than that, she on her flight back to Switzerland in her mansion with her husband. So it's just interesting to think about. And it's like, why is that? Going back to Tina Turner's story, there's a scene in the movie with Ike, played by Lawrence Fishburne, where, you know, it's that scene in the studio where she's singing and he's like, oh, you gotta get the song right. Like, she's not singing the song right for him. And it's this face he makes.
Anime, sing the song like I told you to sing the song. Anime, sing the damn song like I...
Y'all watch the movie? Y'all know what happens in the scene, the traumatic experience that happens in the scene. And according to some sources, that scene was kind of fabricated, but still, knowing that this could have potentially happened, that little picture of Ike Turner looking like that, that's become a meme and a joke. Knowing what could have potentially happened, even though it was said to be fabricated, it's like, wow, people use that as like a, you know, as a reaction pic or a meme pic. I'm like, wow. And then when you look at the movie, you know what scene that's from. It's like,
The lowest is what?